The STEM piece is just kind of the vehicle, but the bigger part of the mentoring and the STEM program is the relationship that you build.
Hey, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Missions That Made Them. I am your host, Jason Verdelli. This isn't just a podcast, but rather it's a movement. It's a movement designed to make the world a better place by bringing more awareness to the great work of the people and organizations making a difference, and more importantly, how you can help. We live in a world today surrounded by a narrative in the media that focuses on negativity and draws attention to the problems, but not the solutions. Our guests represent the solutions, not the problems. And with that, I am super excited today to introduce our guest, Terrence Southern with Illuminate STEM. And had a chance to check these guys out before jumping on the podcast. And what these guys do is absolutely incredible to really shape the future leaders of tomorrow into introducing them into technology and the world of automation and all the different, really the skill sets for the future as I see it. So Terrence, I want to welcome you to the Missions That Made Them.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad to be here.
So, Terrence, you're the founder of this organization, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. So I had a chance to read your story and everything else. So for everybody listening here, so how'd you start Illuminate STEM?
So while Illuminate STEM became a 501c3 officially in December of 2012. The story goes far back further to when I first came out of college as a robotics engineer in the automotive industry. It was then when I began mentoring young people. I started off in high school, mentoring them in robotics because I was a robot engineer. At the time I was in Detroit, Michigan, and a bunch of kids were at General Motors to build a robot in 6 weeks. My mentor told me to show up and teach these kids, and that was not what my plan was as a 24-year-old engineer after work.
Wow.
But it became a thing of love and passion, and I was able to see those young kids grow up from 9th graders to 12th graders. But along that journey with the first group of high schoolers, and we worked together for some years, I just realized that, meeting a child, at 9th, 10th, 11th, or 12th grade you're almost too late, right? You got 4 years to kind of navigate them into the right direction that they're dreaming of. And of course, everybody doesn't always know what they want to do, but these kids say, all right, well, here's a robot. What do robots do? Why are robots important? Why is automation important? And, I was a young, budding engineer myself. But then I realized that, maybe if you got in front of these students a little earlier, Terrence, you might have a better success rate, driving them from, 4th grade all the way to 12th grade versus 9th through 12th, right? So you widen that time, that duration of time you have to make an impact and have better results. So I started a middle school team, which totally started from a career day presentation. There were a couple kids there. I'll never forget. There was this kid who says, well, he's like, hey, my dad says that robots take jobs. And I'm just like, yeah. And I think that was the first time I was really stumped because at that young age, I didn't have my answer together. Today, I was like, well, robots also create jobs and create a lot of jobs, a lot more than that are removed. And so, but I now also that was also my first time I spoke in front of first graders. And I couldn't relate to them in their language, so I spoke in the form of Transformers. And it went across very quickly. But then all of a sudden, now they think I build Transformers. So they're telling everybody, like, oh, I met the guy who makes Transformer robots. But it went over better for me than probably them. But yeah, it was that at that time when I jumped into the middle school kids, I felt like I really had a good flow. And then I had children who wanted to be there. And fast forward, most of the kids who have been on part of my robotics program lead into what became Illuminate STEM in 2012. They've gone, I would say 90% of them have gone into STEM careers. And one of them who was there that day as in my presentation for Career Day, he's a robotics engineer today. So that's why we do what we do. Today, Illuminate STEM impacts 2,000 plus students annually across the U.S. We love what we do, and our focus is around robotics, drone development, automation, cybersecurity, and 3D printing, all technologies that I work with on a daily basis. And the thing that's unique about us, there's a lot of great STEM programs out there. There's not as many STEM programs where the student gets to meet the CEO, the student gets to meet a robotics engineer. And I often tell people, say, well, when you go to a basketball camp, Tiger Woods isn't the leader of the basketball camp, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
to my camp, I bring in other leaders who are, in the STEM field, so they can see someone who, has a pathway to the finish line that they're dreaming of.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, it's really 2,000 students. 2,000 students. What was that like to go from? I think I remember reading something where you had, well, I think it was last year or a couple of years ago or whatever. It was like 1,000. But how'd you scale that to that many students?
We have to work with partners and schools. We have summer camps that are happening in multiple locations. Of course, during the pandemic, we haven't been able to kind of, maintain a level of stability during a pandemic, which brings in virtual. But yeah, when we started, we were maybe 20 kids and one laptop. Right?
Oh, wow.
Today,
wow.
We were just one team, 20, 30 kids, one or two laptops. One of them happened to be mine. One was the school's. So we didn't have much, but we were very impactful. And so that's what I like to say about us. We're small, but and very impactful and nimble in our practices. 2,000 kids, that requires, working with different schools, having summer camps, having other organization partners. You figure it out, and it's a lot of fun when you can go to, a big event and, capture 500 students at once. I enjoy those times.
Wow.
There's always at least one that walks away and said, man, seeing Mr. Southern and his team today, changed my life. Like I know what I want to do with my life now. So those are cool moments.
Yeah. And that's really why you do it, right? I mean, it's the impact of the kids just to hear that.
Yeah.
I would imagine is and see him go on for years. I think that on your website you have one alumni there that works, I guess, at where was it? Georgia Pacific, I think it is right there.
Yeah,
so just to see that, I would imagine it's great.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Jeez. He's the one kid who was in that room that day when I did career day, and he's a robot engineer today. We probably talk at least once a week.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's awesome too. So he's at Amazon right now, and obviously there's a ton of automation and robotics going on there.
Indeed,
with everything.
Yeah, and like you said, that's the reason we do it. Like I met him, he was 12. He's 27 today.
Yeah.
We share a lot of the same common interests. He can now, navigate himself in the robot industry. And, when I go to robot conferences now, we see each other and say, hey, here we are together, right? There was just me, 20 years ago. Now, we learn how to multiply those efforts. And the things I expect of my students, like James and others, is that you go back and teach somebody else, right? I taught you, reach back to teach somebody else how to get here.
Well, that was part of your story too. As I was reading your bio, and it said about how that was the only thing, I think, your mentor that you had. It was a General Motors, right?
Mm-hmm.
It said the only thing I want you to do is I want you to pass this along, right? And now you've got 2,000 people that you're passing it along to. My gosh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that was it. I think that was after I received my second Black Engineer of the Year award. And I dedicated my speech at that time to my mentor when I was on that stage in 2012. And I just asked him, I said, how do I say thank you? Because this didn't have to happen. I didn't have to listen. You didn't have to make an effort to even show me. And you did. So that's when he told me, you go give it to somebody else so that they can pass it along. So I tried to just multiply that effort and say, if I can get 10 kids to impact 10 other kids, then we're multiplying our effort now. So, and I used to myself in the beginning, it was like, man, I got 100 kids and only 5 of them are listening. And he told me, he said, if you just get one, you've done your part, Terrence. And that's a lot more than most people, get accomplished.
Yeah.
I feel good about those journeys that I have.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how does somebody that's watching, I mean, one of the biggest things that I always promote here is to be a part of the solution, and the fact that individuals have the ability to be a part of that solution. What are some ways that people can support you?
Most importantly, I mean, we got 3 ways that we love to be supported. One, of course, sponsorship and donorship. When we get funds, we're able to have bigger and better programming. We have some corporate sponsors, who come in and support our programs, and they're named after those corporations that come in. That's always been great. The second thing that helps, and this is a big one, is actually just being engaged and getting in front of the students. Sometimes, and I remember this when I first began mentoring kids as a robot engineer, they didn't really care what they learned. It was about the relationship that they made with you. Sometimes they just wanted me to show up. Like, it was just like, we just want to talk to him. So having volunteers, and it's not required to be part of the STEM world. Sometimes, like me as a man, working with the young ladies can be challenging at times.
I'm sure.
The same language. So I love when, women engineers and STEM professionals come in, but they don't want to talk about robots all day. We end up talking about life. So the STEM piece is just kind of the vehicle, but the bigger part of the mentoring in the STEM program is the relationship that you build with them, where trust. And for me, we work with a lot of underserved communities. I mean, we work with everybody, so all demographics and backgrounds come into our environment. And sometimes they just want a conversation and build a level of trust so that when they do need somebody, they know how to pick up the phone and ask good questions when they're unsure. And then the last thing, and this has been the trickiest over the last couple of years, we're always working with different partners to because we got lots of equipment. When it comes to STEM stuff, it's not just something you can just get a sheet of paper and fold up an airplane and call it aerospace education. We have equipment. There's robots, there's drones, there's 3D printers. There's equipment that we need and components to that equipment. So the big thing for us is that we have a space to call home. So we're for partners who can offer space to the community, and we're talking long-term partnerships, 3 to 5 years or longer, where we know that the students have somewhere to come after school on a daily basis or on our Saturday program. Those 3 things, funds, volunteers, and location and space. I'm actually looking for a space in Dallas, Texas, and Detroit, Michigan, right this minute, to see, can we get a small space? Look for some underwriting support that will provide us a space, and then we have somewhere to put our equipment. For the longest, that equipment would go with me, and then come back home with me, and or went to space, or it's back in my garage. So my garage is filled with drones and 3D printers and robots.
Oh, yeah. It's a lot better when it's stored somewhere else. Also less logistics.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And for those of you listening, it's illuminatestem.org. You can go there. You can donate. And as Terrence had mentioned, I mean, it goes towards the programs. It goes towards better equipment. And ultimately, what it's going to do is it's your way, your ability to be able to contribute to a better tomorrow, right? The more educated we have, the more education that we steer, or where we steer our future leaders of tomorrow in the direction of the STEM program, which that stands for. How's that? What's the STEM stand for again, Terrence?
Sustaining talent and elevating minds.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it was obvious that STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. So it was a play on words as to what's the purpose and mission of the organization.
Yeah. That's awesome. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we hop off here, Terrence?
Absolutely. Yeah. I just want to give some insight to, why a program like Illuminate STEM matters and what we're teaching. Right now, we are in a technology shift in our country right now.
Big time.
Like the internet in 1996. No one knows what to expect. I think people are a little bit more prepared this time, coming out of the pandemic. and now introduces automation. 10,000 baby boomers are retiring per day, above the age 65 and above, and those jobs they're going to be gone because technology has introduced itself. What isn't being the gaps that aren't being fulfilled are the new jobs that require new talent, new skill sets in robotics, artificial intelligence, coding, and drone development,
True.
cybersecurity, you name it. There's a lot of jobs right now, and that's what Illuminate STEM specializes in. Those jobs of the future, those jobs that are going to allow for us to, make ends meet and take care of our families in an efficient manner. As the country grows and costs increase, but our salaries can increase. So that's kind of So it's not just a technology organization; it's also a relationship and mentoring organization. And we believe that we do it the best. And like I said, I consider myself like the Michael Jordan in robotics. So you program and you meet the CEO and meet a bunch of other
Yeah.
Jordans and LeBron Jameses and high level engineers. We're the program that you get to meet those people in person and learn how they got to the top.
Yeah. Well, I think that's really cool too, that you're doing that. You're allowing the students to meet the people that are doing this, that are actually doing the work, right? They're not just hearing this somewhere in a classroom or anything like that. They're actually out, and they get to be hands on with us, which is huge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anything else, Terrence, you wanted to share?
Follow us on social media. We are on Instagram. Illuminate STEM. It's on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Our website again is www.illuminatestem.org. And we love new volunteers. We love to partner. We are hoping this year that we'll be able to expand ourselves to other cities and states across the U.S. Right now, we work diligently in Dallas, Texas, and we had to do some work in Detroit, Michigan, but we're hoping to start opening up other pockets in the United States so we can impact more students globally.
Well, and I think for you, those of you that are listening out here too, I think if you believe in the STEM program, you believe in helping our future leaders to support us. I mean, this is the future leaders. I mean, I'm 39 as I do this, I think right now, but as I get older, everything else gets older. You got to appreciate. You have to really be concerned about. Is our future leaders, are they acquiring these skill sets? Because I mean, heck, when I was in college, it was there. These courses were somewhat there, but they weren't stressed as much. They weren't part of sort of a holistic view. It was kind of like if you liked coding, you did that, but it wasn't part of sort of a future direction for somebody, and it wasn't really part of bringing them to the people in the field that are doing this.
Right.
So I think, if you're out there and you believe in that, which I do, I mean, hey, I want a better tomorrow. I want our future leaders to stay ahead and to be technologically advanced so we can make the world a better place by, allowing the robots to do what the robots do well and allow the humans to do what the humans do well. And, I believe the world's going to be a better place just by doing that.
I promise.
So what's that, Terrence?
I promise it'll be a better place with technology that's being developed.
Oh yes, yeah, and let's get these robots to work, right? But we need the minds to be able to understand how to control the robots, so they can do the work, and the human beings can do what human beings were meant to do, which is to reason well, to think critically, and doing some of the things that I'm not sure quite robots do as well. So we'll see. Who knows? Who knows though? We could be wrong in 100 years from now, or maybe even 10 years from now. Who knows? I may be wrong. So. But no, Terrence, this is great. Again, the goal is really to give you everybody an overview here of what are the great organizations and what they're doing, and then really get you to the website, illuminatestem.org. Check these guys out, see what they're doing. Dive, as Terrence had mentioned, check out their social media. Just Illuminate STEM. You can just go on and search. You'll find them. I think that's some of the best ways to support an organization. Sometimes also just by sharing this video, right? Subscribing to the Missions That Made Them, so you can. When we have Terrence back on, I'd love to have you back on to kind of dive into deeper subjects, right? Kind of go into. We could talk for hours if we went over every little thing, but we could talk about some of the different things, specific things that you're doing to change. Some of the, maybe at the program level, it would be great to kind of touch base there on that.
Sure.
You're looking for a great organization to support. This is definitely it. If you believe in a better, brighter future tomorrow, and you believe in getting these robots to work, make sure you go to illuminatestem.org and support these guys. So, Terrence, anything else?
No, I really enjoyed talking to you. Can't wait to follow back up with you and tell you more about everything that Illuminate STEM is doing.
Excellent. So thanks again, Terrence, for jumping on. And for those of you out there, again, illuminatestem.org, be sure to check them out. Again, be sure to subscribe to the Missions That Made Them here. Smack the bell to make sure you get the notifications on new episodes that we have coming out. And more importantly, be sure you have a great rest of the day.